check out the wheels, man. You saw these being restored in the last episode. They're going to fit great. They actually hold air, so I'll be able to push this thing around quite easily. Come on. Come on. Hey, thanks for watching the channel. This is part 2 of a 2-part thing to where we're getting the garbage Camaro back on its own wheels and tires on the suspension as a roller again. So thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing, all of that stuff, and thanks for commenting. And check out the wheels, man. You saw these being restored in the last episode, and now I've got them mounted on tires. These are 235/60/15s, and are they the widest meets in the world? No, but they're what came on this car. They're going to fit great. They're going to fit the brake package, and we're not going to have any clearance issues, and they actually hold air, so I'll be able to push this thing around quite easily. I'm super excited to just have these like this. They've been sitting under a bench since 2015. I'm not kidding, and we're going to put them on. So this is going to go in stages. We're going to get the wheels on the suspension, get it out of the way, get the car in here, get it off the rotisserie, and put the wheels and stuff back underneath it. Hopefully, all 4 limbs will be attached after this exercise is finished. First thing we're going to do is throw the wheels on. This is the factory lug nut. You can see the collar on it, and it sits inside a groove, and yeah, and it's going to fit up. Oh, we got the Luftwaffe coming overhead. We're not too far from an Air Force base, so that's, if you hear that sound, that's what it is. So these are reasonably lightweight. They're way lighter than the Billet Specialties ones that I've had on this thing. Came off a Z sled. Maybe it's hub centric. Yeah, it seems to center. Okay. If I get used to them, I don't know. There's nothing wrong with the original brake package. So if I get used to these might stay on the car. I don't know. Here's the original center cap. Now this had a Z28 emblem in them because, like I said, they came from Z sled, my 78 Z28. The emblems are long gone, but there's a big flat space in there. It's a big flat space that we can put an emblem in. You see where I'm going? We might have, I got a buddy with a 3D printer, and he's going to print me up some emblems. So when those come, I'll show them to you. But there's that. All right, so now let's get this thing off of these stands and get it out the way. There, that's symmetry. Bam. Ow, that hurt. Oh, that hurt too. That hurt my ear balls. Ba-bam. That's better. That's better also. Oh, that's so much easier. Let's talk about hardware. Come over here. I went to the AMD website, and they have a kit. It is it's a subframe and radiator support bushing installation kit. It's all these things. So all the bushings, as you remember, they're just toast, man. They're 50 plus years old, 51 years old this year, and they're just garbage. So you get new ones. So these are the rears. No, I'm sorry. These are for the radiator support. These are for the front subframe bolts, and these are for the rear subframe bolts. They're different sizes. I have a set of Detroit Speed aluminum subframe bushings, and I'm probably going to put those on. I could put those on afterwards. We're going to use these. I'm not 100% sold that we're going to go full Pro Touring on this, but anyway, I just wanted to say this is very reasonably priced for this pad set, and I needed everything. And it's got a nice little handy-dandy guide that comes with it, which makes me happy. It gives me measurements, and I have my electronic digital measuring device, and it made it super simple to identify everything, so now I don't have to wonder. Yeah, here's the original hardware. Look at that. It looks like maybe it was the subframe bolt on the right half of the Titanic. And I don't trust that. I just kind of don't. The washer is distorted and the hardware is not great. Now, there was a set of bolts that are actually holding it onto the rotisserie that were in decent shape. However, I went to my local place that sells good hardware and I got some options. So this is grade 5 hardware. These are grade 8 washers. And this is going to do a nice job of holding it in place. And before you freak out and say, oh, you should be putting grade 8 hardware on there, yes, I probably should, and I might. I might get a hardware set. But the studying that I did says that General Motors used grade 5 mounting hardware on these front subframes. So I'm perfectly fine if I keep this hardware for the remainder of however long I have this car, and it's going to hold up just fine, and there's no breakage that's going to happen. Anyway, so this was very reasonable as well. There's a set of hardware for this. There's even a stainless steel ARP set, and it's kind of spendy, and this was, I don't have to take off the other glove to tell you how much this cost. That's what I'm saying. So now we know what we're going to bolt it up to the car with. So now let's address the rear axle assembly. This is pretty much a no-brainer. This is the front, obviously. This goes into the spring pocket. Oh, hang on, spring pockets. I went to my bead blaster, knocked the rust off. These are the spring pockets. I'm happy with the hardware. They're not pitted. The threads are all in good shape. This spring pocket is money. It's like brand new. So what we're going to do is attach this to the leaf spring, and then we'll locate it up into the pocket in the car. I did buy some new clips because some of the clips were rusty. Whatever, you just got to do that. And I did get some new mounting hardware for that. So we're going to pop these on there as well. What else we're going to do to this thing is we're going to replace the pinion seal, and we're going to replace this differential cover. And I've got a way better cover that we're going to put on. It's the original one from Zed Sled. I'm keeping the 8.5-inch axle. It's plenty strong, and a lot of guys keep them, race them. They hold up. I had 550 horsepower to the tires on Zed Sled on a 10-bolt, 8.5-inch ring gear rear axle assembly. Never broke, so this is going to be just fine. Got to get a drain pan. We'll crack those bolts loose. And I love the smell of 50-year-old Diff lube. I'm just saying, it just really, really lights me up. It's a good smell. Now, all of this might have poured out when we cleaned up the rear axle. I don't know, but I wanted to be prepared for it anyway. All right, so technically there's absolutely nothing wrong with this cover. We've established by previous video that the LSD itself is engaging both wheels. So I'm not going to do much here, but I'm going to replace the cover. Why are you going to replace the cover if there's nothing wrong with it? You see what happened right then? I have to take every bit of the perimeter bolts out, every one of them, to either inspect, change the fluid, look at it, all that type of stuff. So hang on, I'm going to show you what I'm going to replace this with. This is a billet cover. I had this on Zed Sled before I changed out to a different one. It's in nice shape. It's got a good thick, yeah, that's about gosh, that's like almost a 1/2 inch flange. Anyway, nice flat surface, and look here, we have a drain plug on the actual diff cover. In the first place, yes, it's going to look great, and it gives me the added convenience of cracking the drain plug when I want to pull the fluid out of it. Look at that. No chunks. That's good. We got some clutch material. That's kind of just going to happen. And honestly, this isn't as stinky as I was expecting it to be. Sometimes it's just rank, man. I don't know what the difference is. Maybe you guys can tell me why some diff lube smells horrid and some does not. All right, so that's going to be fine. What I am going to do, since I want to do a super clean on this outside edge here, I don't want any lube dripping on me, is I'm going to tilt the assembly down a little bit on the front, balance it out a little bit. That way I can work on this a little bit easier looking at the face. So, all right. Now the heads of these bolts do not match the pretty billet aluminum diff cover, so we're gonna tune them up just a little bit. All right, so this is no high-tech thing right here. We've got 10 bolts. It's a 10-bolt rear axle. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now, there's my paint stand. What I'm gonna do here is gently, Internet, chuck up the bolts. And I'm just going to take my scuffing pad. That cleans off the thread, stuff it into my finger. That's just a nice, neat way to clean that up. Put it in there, it's ready for the paint booth. The good news here is that there's not a whole bunch of cork gasket or anything that we gotta scrape off of here. It's really super clean. But I want it really clean for my purposes, putting a new gasket on there. All right, so that's good enough for now. That'll dry. What I'm gonna do is take this over to the bench top and we'll put the gasket on the cover, and then we'll finish the process when we bolt it on. So this is already pretty clean, but it can never be too clean. So I'm taking brake parts cleaner and just giving it another wipe. I do want it to seal, and I don't even want to have to think about it again. So, see? Anyway, I'm going to put a gasket on. I'm going to put a thin skim coat of sealant on, use the gasket, and sandwich the gasket with a thin skim coat of sealant. Now, conventional wisdom says you either use a gasket or a sealant, but not both. My good friend Ryan Shand from the old Trucks TV days showed me this method. It has never let me down. It doesn't squish the gasket out. It keeps it in place perfectly, and it's what I do now. The sealant that I'm using is this Permatex Gear Oil Gasket Sealer. It's got the green label. This is important. My friend Kiwi turned me on to this stuff because I couldn't figure out why my diff covers were leaking on a limited slip differential. The friction modifier will degrade typical RTV. It does not degrade this. It's made for it. So that's my tip to you. Get the green stuff. So all I'm doing is a super tight smear of this gasket maker, but it's on all of it. It's on all of the surface. And also, when we put the bolts in, we're going to put it in the bosses for the bolts. I'm going to call that covered. So I know that's the bottom. There is a right and a wrong way to do this. I don't know that there's a back or a front, but there's certainly an orientation that you got to pay attention to. And that, my friends, is it, I believe. I'm just going to use this to center. All right. We will head on over to the axle. Since we've already cleaned the surface, now we're ready to go on that. So kind of a rinse and repeat moment, but we'll, I lost my cap for the gasket maker. Okay, whatever, stop spazzing. We're taking this because this is going back on. Squirrel, what time is it? What if there's reruns of Gilligan's Island on? All right, rinse and repeat. We're just gonna smear this stuff a thin, super thin, not even a bead. Just a smear. All right, that's all I need right there, man. I'm just going to put a blob right in here on each of these guys. That should go a long way to sealing the bolts, getting the threads seated and all of the good things. Now this guy holds the union for the brake lines in place. So I'm just going to kind of loosely, that may not even be the right orientation, but I think that's close enough for that. All right. Clean that. Oh, yeah, smear that on there, dummy. Test gravity. Gravity still works, so that's good. So I'm gonna use a little bit of this to seal the threads, even though it's pipe thread, and I probably don't need a sealer. I'm over the top a little bit on this stuff, so you didn't see that. And good and tight. Okay, there we go. So that, it looks so much better. All right, so let's go to the front part. All right, so we've got, it's a 1 1/4 socket. Fits snug as a bug in a rug. This should. Come off. There's the enormous nut. It's coming. It's not happy about it though. maybe there's a way. So I do have a puller set. It's over in the other shop, next to the toolbox, sitting by the drawer that closes onto the top side cabinet that is beside the workbench with a box of Clecos. So sometimes there's a time to where you need to just stop, regroup and assess. And, you know, I could keep bashing on this. I don't want to. I don't think it's the greatest idea. They're supposed to gently tap out. Didn't happen. So I went to my local, actually AutoZone parts store, and got this universal, they've got a loan-a-tool thing. And they'll loan it to you as long as you pay for it. So basically you hand them a credit card and they'll loan you the tool, and when you bring it back undamaged, they wipe the charge off your credit card. Anyway, so this is a universal pulley set. It's really interesting because there's a couple of different sets of jaws, 4 longer or shorter, and I think it's actually going to work. So I can hook this, center it on the pinion itself, because there's a relief, right? So I can do that, and this is adjustable, and these jaws pinch like this on a threaded thinger. And look at that. And it just works. Now this guy right here, I should be able, yeah, look at that. It's walking right out. Now I could have just kept on hammering it, but I didn't want to, because at some point I'm going to hammer the crap out of my hands, and I don't want to do that. So it just needed a little more love, right? So our offending seal is this right here. Wow, yeah. And that seal, I'm pushing it with my fingertip. That's harder than Chinese arithmetic right there. What I've got to do is get my new seal. I've got to chisel that guy out. I just want to make sure I've got the right seal. I believe that's going to work. So now I get that out. Well, that was scarily simple. Yeah, look at the difference here. That's nice and supple, and this is not. All right, second verse, same as the first. How do we put that in? Same way we took it out, except I've got a little bearing race that I keep for doing stuff like this. It's just the outer race from an old wheel bearing. There it is, okay. All right, that feels even all the way around. I just want this to seat a little bit just to make sure I've got it right ways up before I tighten it in with the nut. Washer, put it back on. Now we can take the pinion nut, throw it back on. And I'm just gonna kind of see to the pants this. Here is what we're doing. All right, that's got a little bit of, it's a lot of backlash actually for what it is, but I think that's fine. Calling that done. All right, so now we're ready to get this thing on the wheels. I gotta have a little tool party here, but, oh, I gotta get this back to AutoZone too, or they're gonna charge me however much it cost for this thing, but nice to know that we can do that. And that's a pretty cool puller thing. Anyway, I liked it. All right, give me my money back. I can clean up. For the lug nuts in the rear, since I've got these extended studs, which I got them because I was running a wheel spacer and a very deep aluminum wheel, and I wanted thread engagement. Sue me. Anyway, what I did is I bought these. These are, it's a, whatever, just a racing washer. They're just part store stuff, but I cut the ends off of them so that now we can have our proper thread engagement, the proper offset. The washers fit super nice inside the reliefs for these wheels. So it's just gonna look a little race car, but it actually, if I end up running this setup, it'll be safe. All right, good enough. Remind me to put a note on the differential that says no lube. So I've got the front and rear assemblies more or less aligned with where they're going to go on the actual body. Now is the time in the dance party to where we lower the body off of the rotisserie, get it onto jack stands, and then weasel the front and rear systems up into place. I got to tell you, it's not my favorite thing because, you know, it's just kind of unbalanced. It's rear heavy, it's risky, it's higher than the jack stands go, and it just makes me a little bit nervous. So I'm going to be super slow and methodical and just take my time and do it, and hopefully we don't drop the body onto the concrete floor because, yeah, that would erase a lot of work. Almost forgot. I got some clips to throw in this where the spring pockets go in the unibody, because when I took it all apart, some of them were rusty and broke. So we're gonna do that first. That way I don't have to do it lying down up on my back. That way we get one last spin on the rotisserie. It's just fun, man. I don't know. Call me a little kid, but just to see a car flipping upside down is cool. It's like all Fast and Furious or something. All right. I don't even know what that is. That's where they go. That's the OE one. These are in good shape. What I am going to do, since somebody forgot to take these out or plug the threads, I'm going to run a bolt through here and chase the threads out. But down here is where we're going to put in the new clips that fit perfectly. Ow! As you may have noticed, they're not exactly the same ones. I went to the local Napa store because they have stuff like this. Let's try to match them up as best as I can. Did you catch my drift? You can see the depth of the clip is not exactly, it's not exactly the same. Hole's got to be in the same area, so I'm going to have to make a relief on this part here. All right, no big deal. I believe I can swing that. Wait for the paint to dry, Kevin. All right, that feels better. Now, the little clipper-do safety retainer thinger. Actually, yeah, it holds it in place. Good, good deal. All right, I'm gonna chase the threads. That was chase. Did pretty good. That works. Righty-tighty, Kevin. So in theory, those spring pockets should just go right in and the bolts should just glide like Zeus has his hands on them. So what we're also gonna do is, this is the hardware for the back side, or for the rearmost portion of our subframe. So I'm gonna chase those threads also. Can't ask for better than that. That's pretty simple. There. Yeah, that's running in easy. And you know what happens when you don't do this, right? You're lying on your back, left-legged, trying to stuff a bolt up in the hole, and it cross threads or gets all goofed up and ends up making you really, really sad. All right, so I think we're ready to throw this thing on some jack stands. So this is literally the last spin. Last spin on the rotisserie. Where are we going? Somewhere there. And we've got a pin that's there, and we've also got two locked bolts right here. So we unlock the bolts, pull the pin out, and then jack the dang thing down, and it goes ka-chunk, 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 ka-chunk. All right, you ready for this? Ah, okay. All right, so I'm gonna move this up a little bit. It's just sticky. It's been a hot minute since I've used this Rotisserie, and I've got these bolts loosened off, the pin is out, and it's got enough weight on there. It should smoothly jack down as you do the down motion with the jack. It's sticky inside that square tubing. I wonder if maybe that's because it was left outside for too long. Smooth as silk. We're super close on this stance. I'm gonna go one click more, a little bit stickity. I'm gonna place my stands a little bit better so it's not on the, I want it on the flat right there. I think what a person should do here is probably disassemble this thing, give it a paint job, and some of the respect that it deserves. It's a great piece of machinery. Rinse and repeat on the front. All right, so you guys tell me, is this a muscle car popping a wheelie, or is this a second-gen Camaro squatting? I don't know. Do I trust a 60-year-old bumper jack? Completely. Who tightened that? Oh, wait. It was me. Come on. Somebody did this at some point and had the right freaking tools. God. Okay. That's how that's supposed to work. That should just walk right out of there. All right, that was simple. Let's go to the front and do it now. Again. There we go. Am I going to run out of space? Sort of. Pay no attention to that sound. Walk, 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 walk. All right, so my diabolical plan from this stage and this pertinent point of the juncture is to let the pockets seat and bolt them in without putting any pressure on the unibody. And I think this will actually work. Like that. Ish. Will it work? Come on. Come on with just a bit more. There we go, okay. That's what I'm trying to do. I just need to push it a little bit farther forward. All right, so there's one bolt. What I'm trying to do is not have the car do anything stupid, like fall on me. That did it. Yep, that's it. We have a natural seat. There's one. Finger tight. Now, if I can use a drift. Ah, see? Look at that. Let me show you what I'm trying to do here. All right, now using the drift, I can kind of align the hole up with the clip. And we can, in theory, bolt that in. And that worked very nicely. Is it gonna? Yes, it caught. All right, there we go. Now I can lock these guys in. All right, there we go. Now we do the other side. And with both spring pockets bolted in, to lift it off the jack stands, now I have a point in which to put my jack pad, which is under the pumpkin, and then we'll pull that up and pull the stands off, and gravity will take over, and Bob will be our uncle. When I was doing the Z-sled project, when it came to the rear suspension, I actually measured because something wasn't lining up, and the frame rail on one side was 3/4 of an inch different than the other side. So that just shows you that a mass-produced vehicle is not necessarily a precise grouping of components. There's allowances that have to be made. All right, so that's loosely snugged in, and we're going to leave this alone for now. All right, so we've got a little bit more heft with the front subframe, so what I want to do is actually lower the car down to this. And that way we're not dealing with any kind of dangerous scenario. We're on jack stands now, so I want to lower the subframe down onto here, goes under there. This one here goes right here, and lower the car down onto that. And that's, I think, the win and how we accomplish that. So we could just do it an end at a time and lower it down, get it down to a more realistic level. But I'm going to get this leveled out. Which, oh, look at that, there it is. It's level right there. Small jack stand. All right. So I'm going to start with getting the front down, maybe another 6 inches or so. And I want to get the jack stands a little more outboard. I think it did. Okay. Ow, that hurt. Pinched that. The glove, I pinched the glove and the heel of my hand. That was super nice. It felt awesome. How many? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. All right, so now we're going to be on the pinch welds. There's really not very much weight to this tub. Now we can ease it down, let the power of hydraulics assist us. I think that was on Saturday morning cartoons, wasn't it? All right, so since that's stable, I'm going to go ahead and kind of center up my frame rails and kind of get this stabbed in there where I need it to be. That's pretty dang close, Kevin. What I'd like to do is knock the jack stands out from under it. You see where we're going with this, sort of? Now we go to the back. Every once in a while, when I roll this jack around at this end of the shop, it seems like the floor is hollow. Now, as soon as those leaf springs hit the rails, we should get some upward action on the stands. There we go. Now we've got 1, 2, 3 spaces. One, two, 3 spaces. What I'm going to do also, just to be safe, is I'm going to put a stand underneath the spring perch on either side. So I also need my jack for the front. I feel better about that. It's taking shape. It's taking shape. Not quite a roller. We're this close. There's a lot of stuff happening. There's stuff in the air. I've got a buddy that's got an F-body Camaro. My good friend, Ron Ryan. So your stance isn't awesome. Your wheel and tire choice is...
Yeah, those are 17s.
Okay. What's the width on them?
The backs are 11s.
Yeah.
And the fronts were 6. That's something I studied and studied and studied to get it right, because I just love stances on certain cars, and
yeah,
and when they're out of whack, it drives me nuts. So on this one, I just wanted it right.
You've done such a great job on this.
Thank you.
I mean, when you look at, you sight it down the side, your style lines, everything looks great, man. And this is, you did this in that shop, right?
In that shop, yes.
Yeah. He's using the full Schwartz chassis under the 71 that he's building. And he deviated from his plan. And his plan was to do what I did with Zed Sled and take his subframe, strip it all down, media blast it, bodywork it, prime it, make it look super nice, and then put some, you know, some suspension arm upgrades on it. Well, he's full Schwartz chassis, but he's got his subframe all stripped down. And it's ready for a little bit of welding and bodywork. So this is gonna get me a roller. That might get me a custom looking front end. So anyway, that's what I'm thinking, just so you know. So for now, I'm using the stock new bushing kit that I got from AMD. Fits right in there. That's the front, and that's the bottom part. We'll set that under there. Other side goes in there, just in case it accidentally falls into place, right? So the rears, I'm gonna do the same. And they go there in the back, and this side, right there like magic, bam, there it is. Now, technically, we weren't even on this jack stand, but... All right, so I've lowered the stands again to where they're the same, and also, yeah, lower than we were before. So we're slowly easing it down. So that's going to come all the way down. And that side is all the way down. And since it's safe, there's nothing, it's on stands and the rear axle and 6 stands. I've got 8 jack stands employed here, so there should be no sketchiness whatsoever. Famous last words. I'm gonna try, yeah, that'll work. There we go, there we go. All right, there's one. I'm gonna go to the other side, get the other back one, then we'll drop the front onto the front. Okay, so that was so ridiculously easy that I think I did something wrong, but I didn't do anything wrong, but that was so easy, and that is the reward for having everything clean. That paid me back for about 200 hours of labor. Not kidding. So I'm just gonna slightly snug the back one up on this side. Now, instead of dropping the rest of it, I want that stable. So I'm going to lift this up instead of, that was dumb. Do you ever look around for an enemy and you realize you should be looking around for a mirror to find him? Right, that guy there. These bolts are good. They're a little bit rusty on the shank, just because, you see how it necks in? Here, you see how it necks in right there? Just out of pure prudence, and the fact that somebody has those in a catalog, I may replace those. There's an intense amount of force that is applied to these subframes. And I don't want to, as they say, mess around. Right in the hole. Okay. All right, so what I'm gonna do now is just do a quick reference. And I like to make sure that everything is square. And there's probably a factory, oh, you know what? The factory location is gonna be that bolt hole right there for the rear of the front fender. So there's our new fixed point of reference. And we're gonna go from that point there, and look here, we have 60 inches. All right, so this is 59 7/8. So you know what? We're gonna lock it down. There's an 1/8 of an inch difference in the square and the X on this. It's important to do this when you're aligning your stuff for sure, for real. Because your fenders mount to the radiator support mounts to the subframe mounts to the body, and if you've got a discrepancy, it can be hard to line up your sheet metal, and can cause you handling issues and tracking and all that kind of stuff. So we're good. So I'm gonna run these bolts in, and we're just that much closer. I am loving this. There's the front. Oh, we're halfway there. Are you ready? Insert royalty-free Rocky music. Da-da-da, 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 da-da-da-da-da-da, na-na-na-na-na-na. Yeah, man. Yeah. Feels good. Feels good. All righty. I'm going to take a little bit of a breather I'm going to collect my thoughts, and I'm going to relish the moment. I'm just going to soak it in. I'm going to take the win. All right, so at this point, I thought it would be really a good idea to kind of do a recap of this project. Somebody reminded me in a comment that it's been literally a calendar year since we started this project. It's been a year since the first episode on the Garbage Camaro. I didn't know if it was going to be a parts car. I didn't know if it was going to be worth saving. And the car just kept talking to me. It kept saying, yes, please. Yes, please. May I have another? May I have another?
Thank you, sir. May I have another?
And it just showed me that it had the bones and it was worth saving. So here we are. It feels pretty dang good to have this thing on the forward motion. From this point forward, things are going to happen a lot more quickly. We've got some of the other projects out of the way. We're still going to do the 280ZX and the shop truck, and we're going to be doing some things that we're involved in, but for the most part, this guy is the main project. So I wanted to catch up with you and let you know kind of what we've got in as far as cash value and parts and things like that. So I got a list. I've been keeping track of what we've spent on this thing. Basically, we've spent about $3,300 on sheet metal. Now that might sound like a lot, but hang in there with me. The cost of the car, me and Derek traded. I traded a 6-cylinder engine out of a 67 Mustang, engine and transmission. So what's that worth? Is that worth $500? And this thing was off in Rusty Acres, and it was just sitting waiting for the recycler, I guess. I don't know. So let's call that $500, okay? That's a barter. It's a trade out. I've got things like different coatings, weld-through coating, welding gas, things like that. Tires. They're not new tires, they're takeoffs. I got them on eBay. They were $440. So we're in this thing for about $4,000. I think I've guesstimated about 300 labor hours total. Now it's hard to figure labor. And we learned this with television, doing television for 20 years. You nuke it when you throw a camera involved. And we don't go to the extents here on this channel anyways of professional broadcast and what we used to do for the big TV shows. But it still adds a bunch of time to it. So yeah, we're gonna say about 300 labor hours. So we're into it for 300 hours and about $4,500, right? Okay, does that seem like a lot? I don't know. I did some surfing on Marketplace. I looked around for what this car is right now, a roller with no drivetrain. And I found some interesting stuff. I've got a couple that I marked down here. I found one, and I'm looking around in my area in Middle Tennessee. I found a roller that looked like it was in good shape, 71-ish. It said it was professionally done with all the sheet metal installed. About exactly the same thing as this. They wanted $13,000 for it. And if you think about it, that's probably a pretty good starting point for having a really nice car. And the resale value of a really nice one of these things, it's way north of that, right? The cheapest roller I found that even compared to this was about $9,500. It didn't have the stuff that we have with this. There was no interior. So anyway, I just thought that was interesting. So here's my point with all of this. And this is the point with this channel. This is the point with Paintucation and all the TV stuff that I've ever done is trying to say, hey man, you can do this, right? You don't have to stroke a check. $4,000's a lot of money. Spread that out over a year, you know, that's easy to justify. A little at a time, right? You can do this. I'm showing you step by step on this Camaro, maybe not every detail, but for $4,500, you could do this. And I'm showing you how. So that's why we're here. I think it's great that we can say we're into this car in this condition. Super solid new metal. What the old metal is in great shape for that kind of money. If I wanted to cut my losses right now, just wash my hands of it, I know that I could be into this thing for positive cash. Maybe that's what we do. Maybe we create a roller project and flip it over. I want to see this thing through, though, and I think you guys do as well. So I just wanted to thank you for watching and for investing your time into this. And we're having a blast with the YouTube channel, and we're about to reach a major milestone in growth, and I'm just so excited about it. So I want to thank each and every one of you for watching and subscribing and all that type of stuff. And as long as you keep watching, we'll keep making episodes. And this thing, we're now to the point to where I can plan suspension. I'm narrowing in on an engine transmission package. I know what I want to do with this thing. I know kind of where we're going to go with the interior. It's all exciting from here. So I want to say thank you. And also, yeah, guess what? Guess what I'm wearing? This is a new Paintucation logo, but it's a Garbage Camaro t-shirt. Check this. We've got these up on the Paintucation website. Now, we don't have our YouTube link yet. You can't see the icons on the YouTube channel, but I put a link in the description to where you can click, and you want a Garbage Camaro t-shirt, go over to the Paintucation.com website, and we will accommodate you. I'm excited about this. I've never had a t-shirt with one of my projects before, so it's really exciting for me. So thank you guys for everything, and we really appreciate each and every one of you, and keep the comments rolling, man. We'll see you next Saturday.